fog of work, fog of war, similarities. Look, today the video is inspired by a journey down to the Waikato. This is an area of New Zealand where there's the Waikato River rolling right through there. We have lovely flat plains, but what often happens is in this time of year you get really thick fog. And what is fog? Fog is when there's a lot of moisture that's trapped between two different air temperatures, and it sits in there. Now, I'm driving a hired car. There's some things that are unfamiliar to me. I'm definitely familiar with the road, and as I'm driving through this area, I've got to be careful and think about what is ahead. I've turned my lights on so that cars can see me as I'm going past. I'm watching my speed, and I'm looking ahead. There's definitely parts of my journey where I can't see very far ahead of me, so I really have to be careful. And I relate this back to change within an organization. Sometimes we can't see very far ahead of us because of the fog of work. Fog of work being that there's so much going on, that anything that is changing around us in our environment, particularly technology and the tools that we work with, it becomes another thing to try and deal with. It's difficult to try and anticipate what's going to happen. And so much like fog, when we're trying to drive carefully, there's only so far that we can see ahead of us. Likewise, not just with end users and people who actually use technology, but also the people who manage the technology. Sometimes we can't see very far ahead of us. Now, there's a few things within the Microsoft 365 environment that try to help us anticipate what's going to happen. There's the 365 Message Center, which will deliver messages about what's coming up to your tenant. Before that, there are announcements ahead of time about technology and features and things that are going to impact your environment. And so as an IT pro, it's your opportunity and your responsibility to keep on top of these things and to understand what's going to impact your organization. Now, there's another role which I'm intimately familiar with, the adoption and change management specialist, and this is a person whose role is also to look ahead and to understand and interpret what's going on for the organization at the end user level, and to anticipate what are we going to need to do to help people deal with the change as it comes. Now, fog of work, fog of war. How do you deal with this when there's so much change going on? And much like fog that I'm driving through today, there's some things that are unfamiliar. Sometimes our tools feel like they're unfamiliar too, like this hired car that I'm driving. I need to spend a bit of time to understand where the controls are, where the lights are, where my blind spots are, so that I can be safe on the road. And within a foggy morning like this, even more so. As I'm driving along the road, I've got to see whether there are some hazards, and there's only things that have been revealed to me as I get closer to the actual point on the road. I can see maybe that there's a car off to the side, or there's some signs or a bridge, or even a car just ahead of me. And this is something else about the journey too. Sometimes there are people that are just ahead of you and they're just slightly out of view, and they're experiencing things just before you. As a community, we can call back and say, this is what you should be able to experience. This is my experience of it so far. Here's a few things that I've found. I can let you know what's coming ahead. So yeah, a few thoughts there about fog of work, fog of change, fog of technology coming. Look, the idea really is to try and approach this as a community and as a partnership between the IT pros within the organization, partnership between the change manager or that change role as well, so that you can prepare the organization on a technical level for change, and on a end user level, so that people can take advantage of these changes and make the most of it, while also avoiding some of those blind spots and those hazards. Now, as Daryl as a service, letting you know about an inspired thought on my journey down to the Waikato, and let me know if you've been feeling a bit fogged out lately with some of the changes. Recommend that you go to the Office 365 Message Center as an IT pro, and also get your environment configured so your change managers can access that too and see what changes are coming up. Daryl as a Service signing off for Regarding 365. Catch you again soon. Bye for now.